I get it. No, for real, I get it. I get it. Oh my gosh, no, I feel.
I'm doing good. Yeah, so my name is Vivi. I'm probably just gonna ask like a few questions. Obviously, let me know if you don't feel comfortable like answering something or yeah, I was wondering if you wanted to maybe introduce yourself, like what your relationship is to Schulich Ignite and just what you're doing now.
Okay, perfect. Hi, my name is Hanan Ulusow. I'm currently in my third year of civil engineering, and right now I am the engagement commissioner at Schulich Ignite.
No, you were also a mentee before, right? Or yeah, so how did that, like both being an executive or a mentee, help in either like your professional or your like academic career?
Yeah, that's a good question. I started I started being in Schulich Ignite when I was in grade 12, so that was in 2019. And that was my first ever introduction to coding as any sort. I never took any coding courses in high school. So that was my first introduction to coding. And part of that's actually part of the reason why I chose to go into Schulich, because before I was like kind of debating what university do I go to, but then having it so close to my house, and B, having that introduction to other students. I did have a mentor who was really inspiring. He was in software engineering, and I did not end up choosing software, but even knowing someone who was in engineering and telling me, he even like told me about his internship short search, and having that sort of like connection with someone even before I was a student was really inspiring for me.
No, great. No, that totally makes sense. And I was also wondering just like what skills did you develop at Schulich Ignite? Again, this can be either when you were a mentee or just what you're learning now as part of the exec team.
Well, as a mentee, learning how to communicate in a group. I mean, I already was. It was just like something that you had like hands-on experience, because like the sessions were in person, so you'd go to university and sort of like be randomly paired with a group, and you'd have the mentor, and then even just like problem solving together. Like if I was confused about something, or even because I was new to coding, so this was like my first real introduction. If I was concerned or confused, having that group and even just being able to communicate, that was something that was new to me, and I thought it was really helpful, especially because in my first year of university, like those skills were used again. So it was something that I ended up applying in my future. Even now, being engagement commissioner, I still feel that connection to. I still feel the connection to Schulich, and I think that's part of the reason why I wanted this position. So because like I had that experience as a mentee, so being able to give back and being able to, I guess, be in that position that inspired me so much is really nice.
Yeah, I know. So I know you didn't end up going into software, but why do you think coding is kind of an important skill for everybody to have?
I think it's an important skill for anybody, including any other types of engineer. I think there's like a misconception that if you're not in software or electrical, you don't need to code, but that's not true at all. I definitely needed to code in as a civil engineer. So this is something that like it shows up anywhere, even because as like Schulich Ignite does sort of like specify that coding is something that you need in every aspect of life, because now everything is more technological. Even any career, you'll find some sort of coding, or even like knowing how to code is just a really nice asset. It's like something useful you can find, you can apply to any career. So I think even if you're not pursuing engineering specifically or software engineering specifically, learning how to code is something that's really useful. Even having those basic it doesn't really matter what language, having those like basic skill sets, you can learn anything in the future and you can apply it later on. I definitely think it's a skill set that everyone needs to know.
No, I'm like in computer science, so obviously I'll say that coding is super important to have, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, totally.
Especially now, even, like your career isn't set in stone. Like in the future, you may choose to change, and having that, knowing a little bit of everything, there's no harm in it. It's always something that can be useful.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and just my like kind of final question. So would you recommend Schulich Ignite to other students, and if so, why?
I definitely would. When I was walking into Schulich Ignite as a grade 12 student, I still hadn't actually chosen what university I wanted to, what even my major was. I really had no idea. So this was part of the reason that I chose Schulich as my, my university now. I think a lot of the time in grade 12, you don't really know where your future will go, and that's totally fine. But I think Schulich Ignite is a good place to know, A, meet people, and B, figure out what you're interested in. Or even if you're not interested in it, at least you tried it. That's how I say, that's how I view it at least. And I definitely recommend Schulich Ignite to any grade 12 student, whether or not you know where you're going to go. It's still a worthwhile adventure and still something that you should try out. I would definitely recommend it.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, it was really nice meeting you. Thank you so much.
Yes, you as well. Thank you so much for interviewing me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for doing the interview. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Okay. Bye. You have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.